Yeah. Welcome to Taboo Chronicles. I'm Roberta, the Tool Lady, and I'm just saying thank you for joining us tonight for this show. We have a wonderful show planned out. We're going to be talking about holiday season blues with the holidays coming up. I know this is a little bit of everybody's thought. You know, how can I face certain family members? How can I when we have to go sit at the table and maybe things have been done in the past that rub people wrong, or even some places at the table, places at the table are missing. So before I keep going with that, because we all know it's some season blues definitely going on, I want to introduce my guest. And I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself fully because I think he can do better than I can.
Hi, everybody. That's a really sneaky way of getting out of saying Kupakowski. I had hi, Roberta. Hi, how you doing? I had somebody the other day tell me that she had spent hours going Kupakowski, 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 and then when she got on, she goes Kapowski. But it took me years. You know, I'm still working at it. So I'm 74, and truth is I know how to say Kupakowski, and so listen, I'm really thankful for this opportunity. I mean, we go back a long way. You know, I don't know if people know that, but we met this afternoon. You know, that was like wow, pretty good. I am. To give you an idea, I'm a Universal Channel, and I am a partner coach. And the partner coach, it's not a partnership coach; it's a partner coach, is what I am. I prepare people to become partners. And as far as the being a universal channel, is that just about everything that I come up with, particularly times when I'm really, really clear and really, really insightful, it's generally coming from some type of universal connection that I have and has helped me work with people and has helped me write this book. You know, I've got a good book out there, and I like that there. So I'm excited to do this with you.
All right. Well, I thank you. I thank you. Well, I'm especially thankful for the podcast guest group that we have because that's how I reached out to Raymond. And no, I will not dare say that name because I don't want to butcher your name. I'm happy that you came. I'm happy that I've also found a new friend.
Yes.
I'm really ready to really talk about what we got to talk about tonight. And the universal part really got me intrigued because I didn't even catch that part when we first talked. But I did catch the other part, the partner coach, which is pretty, and it has a lot to do with our subject. Now, before we go forward, let's do a check-in. Let's see what our moods are before we. All right. Well, for me, you're my guest. I'm gonna let you tell me your mood first, Raymond.
I'm just, I'm just more and more excited. I can say that something that's been happening with me is a tremendous overall feeling of gratitude. You know, I'm so lucky that people are picking up on my message, taking me in, bringing me into these platforms. I get to meet you, and I'm 74, and for this to be happening at this late stage of my life now it's really a blessing, and so. Yeah, I think gratitude sort of sums it up. My life is fantastic.
All right. All right. I love that. Yeah, I love that, Raymond. I didn't know you were your age at all, so I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. For me, I'm delighted and a little tickled. Raymond had me a little tickled earlier when he said we've been knowing each other for years. So I was like, for a long time, he said, and it was this afternoon. But it may have been somewhere in that universal language that he's speaking. We may have met before, right, Raymond?
Sure. We're
So
all connected, huh?
that's right. So I'm delighted. Um, Now, the first thing, because what we wanted to talk about is just the holiday blues altogether. And a lot of times people don't talk about these things. The family that is the family, but doesn't really get along as family, but tries to get together during these holidays. That's one part of it.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other one, um, is the part that when we talk about, people that are missing from the table. We have some places that people won't be there this year and have not been there for a while. Then we have people who have broken up or people who have traveled and relocated. So there's all kind of holiday season blues that goes on. Now, Raymond, what do you think about some of those things that I threw out?
Well, the holiday stuff is interesting for me. For the most part, I was in show business at 9 years old, and when you start out at that age, and I did a lot of touring, I played a lot of shows, did a lot of music. The holidays come around, and you're pretty much performing most of the time, So I missed an awful lot of family gatherings and things of that nature. I come from, I was adopted, and I was adopted into a large family. My father, I always get this messed up. My father either had 11 siblings or he had 11 brothers and 4 sisters. And I don't remember exactly what that was, but I had tons and tons of cousins, and during that time when I was growing up you know well, I was born in 50, and 50s and 60s and stuff, there was still a lot of people that were doing the family thing, based on that's what everybody did. And it seemed like with my family it fell apart pretty quickly, for some reason. uh, so it was nice, but I think it needed to take on a different context, and maybe more about enjoying with the people that you truly enjoy with, you know. And so, yeah, I've had that kind of thing. How about yourself?
Well, I see it both ways, Raymond. I'm a mother, so I have children, and also I have some grandchildren. So
Mhm.
I have both sets of family there, and as the matriarch of that unit, sometimes I'm the leader of the participating. I'm the coordinator of the holidays. Now, this holiday I won't be.
Uh,
So this
oh,
holiday, I'll be spending it probably most likely by myself. Um,
okay.
so
Is
and not
everybody okay? Is everyone okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, everyone's okay. It's just my son. I have my children all born on holidays. So I have a son born on Halloween. I have a son that was born on Thanksgiving. I have a daughter that was born 2 days after Christmas, and
Wow.
one born right after Martin Luther. Well, no, on Martin Luther King's birthday. So
Oh,
I have children born each holiday coming up.
did
Everyone
did you?
but New. I never got the New Year's prize though, Raymond. So
I was going to say, yeah, but you got all the present things together.
right.
You only have to give them one present for each one of the holidays.
Oh no, that don't work for the holiday babies.
I
That
know.
don't work. They get smart. They get smart. The older they get to, like, is that the holiday or is that the birthday? And which one is
Yeah.
it? Because you gotta, and my daughter specifically, she's the Christmas baby. So she always makes sure that her stuff is separate from Christmas. And
I
she'll
get you, especially dude, those girls are smart.
yeah. Yeah.
I,
Now
you made me think about something here. And like I said, I was adopted, and so I didn't know anything about my biological family until the time I was about 40 when I started meeting them. That's a whole different story. but my mother and father died when I was still quite young. I was I think my mother died and I was about 16 or something. And my dad died many years later, but I was already out of the house and not very close to any of them. I sort of missed a lot of that kind of thing, and had to rely on other people to party with, or just to do some kind of celebration. And I think more than celebrating a particular day, it was more about celebrating. It was a time to celebrate with people that you cared about, and not necessarily because of Christmas or something like that. I could tell you, I don't even know when the first time it was that I actually was there. It was home on Christmas. Always out. So yeah, this is interesting. It's really making me reminisce and recognize that my life was different and interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you did get the other part, it sounds like, early on, because you probably got the recap part of today's show, actually, because we're going to inch to it. But you kind of got that early on, it sounds like, of identifying people that you do enjoy the holidays with, and sharing that time with them, and having that space with them during, I said to myself, next year I'll probably participate in a Friendsgiving, just for that reason. Like I said, I have a son, his birthday is actually usually Thanksgiving, but this year he traveled, and so that's why I didn't spend him with him this year. So that's kind of what happened.
Nice.
So, and he's grown, so that's okay. But that's usually what happens, is that I usually kind of celebrate with him also with the birthday. So,
do you have grandkids? Do you have grandkids?
I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any. I've got 2 boys, but no grandkids, and not likely to have them either. So,
Okay.
It won't be long before too many people have to pronounce Kupikowski right. I think it's on its way out. I'm so sad.
Well, I mean, you might have some extended family out here somewhere now. Yeah, you may have.
Yeah, I don't want Janet to hear about that.
Who is Janet, your wife? Now you. Look,
Yeah,
we don't want to. Go ahead.
she's my honey. Yeah, she's
Okay.
28 years with her, and every day is sort of a Christmas kind of thing, a celebration of sorts. Yeah, so it's very nice. I like to think that for people out there, I would really like you to consider that, some of these things like Christmas that have been handed down to us, and we just do them because there's a moment on a calendar that tells us when to have Thanksgiving, and it tells us when to do Christmas, and there's a lot of other cultures there that have that have the things that they celebrate. But I think it's important to look at those times as they're being presented to us, and reflect and see what it actually means to us. Make it into something that's just not being done by rote, but something that's being done that, here's an opportunity for me to tell the people that I like, people that I want to be around, how much I care about them and what they mean in my life. For them, I'm happy to have them in my life. Because what you were saying before is that too often they're gone before we ever get to tell them anything.
That's true. That's
you
true.
know yeah.
That's and that could be a good part of it. You're actually right. That to practice it more often.
Yeah.
Not to wait on a given day, because it should be every day. It should
Mhm.
be. Gratitude should be every day. Um, you're right. We should be grateful every day, if it's even for the smallest thing, right? Um,
Sure.
we should be happy, because hey, some people are not even experiencing these things.
Yeah.
Um, so I like that. Like I said, I think that you got the best of the recap of it is that there are alternatives. Like I said, I said next year I was going to go ahead and do some type of Friendsgiving. That's an alternative, and I was probably going to do it uh, a little bit far, maybe a week or two before Thanksgiving. And the
Uh-huh.
reason the reason why is because, like I said, at my Thanksgivings, there are some seats that are those people are no longer with us. So
Yeah.
that kind of sometimes the damper of building up to those holidays are also stress as well, because
Uh,
you're reminded of some of those memories and some of those times that you shared with those individuals, and it's coming closely, those individuals are not here anymore. So
yeah.
I probably would reinvent my stuff as well, Raymond, is to be honest with you. I had been giving quite some thought about it.
It it really sounds nice. I'm from Camden, New Jersey, South Camden, and it was a very rough town growing up. I don't know if you know anything about it, but it was probably, it was per capita one of the worst places for murders and things like that. And it was tough when I grew up. I lost 7 friends in my sophomore year to drugs, and to one person was hung in a cemetery. They're close friends of mine. And when you grow up the way that I did, you sort of have to protect yourself from this kind of thing, and you know that people die, and you know that they can die young, and so the closeness that you would feel, and even the idea about celebrating with somebody, it's a little bit scary, it's a little bit off-putting. But what I recognize now is that those kinds of stories, when I can tell those to people when I'm working with them and stuff, I can tell them about it. It allows them to recognize that you don't need to protect yourself like I did. You can still look at it. I like my best friend. We called him Poncho. His name was Ronald. He is my best friend, and he died of an overdose. And I just could not think about him. I couldn't do anything about him, and I really expected that we were going to be friends for a long, long time. Or I didn't expect it. When he was gone, then I thought, geez, he's my friend and he's gone. And so it was a little bit hard that way. And and you don't want to really have parties. You don't really want to have Christmas. You don't really want to, do these things that bring back memories when your memories are not all that good, and nobody teaches you to how to make them better. Nobody says. And nobody says you've got to be happy when a person's there and not be upset when they're gone.
Yes, yes.
So yeah.
Well, that's why we wanted to talk about that tonight here on Taboo Chronicles. I wanted to talk about that. That is something that we don't discuss. That's something that we don't address. So I did want to say that is some of the things that we can refocus, during the
Mhm.
holiday. That's an excellent way to look at it. And it looks like that was your coping tool as well. So your coping tool was just to avoid a situation or avoid that closeness, and then
Sure.
avoid and which that's what a lot of people do. That's where that isolation comes at during
Mhm.
these times. And you just
Yeah.
really, like I said, the closer you get, you're like, oh goodness, it's here. So,
Well,
but
yeah. No, I was going to say, when you think about, okay, we had 2 churches in my neighborhood. One was called the Annex, and the other one was the big church, the cathedral thing, or whatever the hell it was. I don't know what it was, but it was the big church. And we used to go to the Annex. And every Christmas that I was around there, that I went to the Annex, there, I would say that 80% of the men there were drunk, and a fight would break out, and it would be mayhem and just craziness and stuff. And
Yeah.
they were so drunk. And I thought, years after that, when I started when I started getting sober and I started working with people, and I thought about that and said, you gotta, it's gotta be a sad life to have to be that drunk in order to go to a Christmas a service or something like that. And it was I think that people do that all the time when they get together with their families and stuff, instead of being able to connect with people, or instead of reaching out, and, you remember negative things and you get smashed, and, it's sort of sad. It's sad that we're not taught how to do anything other than the things that we've been doing a long time,
Yeah. 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 And I think I like that you brought that in, because that is how some people do cope.
Sure.
And it is a coping mechanism. It's something to do, when you're dreading something, and possibly some defensiveness. They
Mhm.
might ask me how I'm doing, or how's my job, and I lost my job yesterday. You know, it may be so many things that play part in that. So it says, well, that's a good one. We'll ask that. It asks about any activities to do with your families that you could do during the holidays to
Yeah.
create the holiday. Um, I guess we can address that. Maybe in about 10 more minutes we can talk about that, because we still got a little bit of this subject as well. And and Raymond, I apologize. It seems like it's bringing a whole lot to your memory here.
Oh, I don't even worry about that at all. Everything. So I think the thing that makes me so successful as far as working with people in relationships and things is I don't see anything as being negative.
Oh,
I think that negativity has got a bad rap to it. If you leave it negative, then it's going to be a negative experience. But if it's a negative experience and you dig into it, you find out all the positive things about it, you can turn it around and you can say that it was worth it. My life has been, I've had a crazy life. It's all over the place. And a lot of people would go, I don't even know how you survived all that kind of stuff, but it made me who I am, and it taught me a tremendous amount. And I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's all, you turn negativity into opportunity.
yeah.
Well, so yeah, people go, "Oh, you're such an open book." It's like, well, why not? I don't, what am I going to do? What am I going to hide? I
Mhm.
used to tell people, when I was drunk, I didn't hide anything. So
Right.
now I'm sober, and now I'm going to hide stuff. No, that doesn't make any
That's the
sense.
opposite. That makes it. That makes sense.
uh, yeah. So I don't know. What else are
So,
we doing here? What are we going to do? What do you? What
Raymond
did
said,
you? What did your people want to know?
well, they asked anything that you would advise the families do or individuals do during the holidays.
Um, well, I would say that because it is a designated kind of opportunity, making amends to people, talking about feelings, talking about maybe things that you might regret, or just being able to talk to people about feelings that you have about them, and do it in a way, in a loving kind of way, not a confrontational kind of thing. It might be something that you would consider doing. I know that there's a lot of divisiveness going on right now in the world, and People are at odds with one another, and to be able to accept that, there's going to be people out there that think differently and feel differently than you do, and they have every right to be wrong. Yeah, you can let them be wrong and not be upset about them being. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
you're fine. I think what I hear you saying is like, if there's someone, and I like to throw this out, if it's someone that you feel like you need to make amends with, because
yeah,
some people, the best thing you can do is continue to live a lifestyle that is good for you,
sure.
and shine on the other side of the street. But for some people, you're like, hey, I really handled this relationship bad, I really did you wrong. Go
Mhm.
back to them, use this time to go back to them, and to talk to them and apologize, or even share your emotions.
Yeah.
I Raymond, I always tell people to use I feel when they're talking to people. So
Uh-huh.
use your feelings to say how you feel, not necessarily what they did, but how you
Yes.
feel about your situation. Because
Yeah,
that makes it a
you're
lot
right.
better. Uh-huh.
You're right, but the whole thing of anything that you do should be tempered with how it helps you. How is this, if I know that I've got to go to an outing with a bunch of people that I don't particularly like, how am I going to act in this situation? What am I going to do so that I can deal with it. Maybe I'm not holding on to something, or I think the thing about this is to be honest with yourself and do the things that are going to make you happy without necessarily hurting somebody, or doing it in a way that allows them to walk away with some kind of grace, and maybe hear what it is that you have to say. But you do those kinds of things for yourself. If I'm going to go to a family gathering, and let's just say that I'm going to see my honey's family, and I don't particularly like them, or they've said things about me, or whatever the reason might be, but we're going to go anyway because it's her family. We're going to go there. Instead of focusing on the people that I have to be around, I would be there and focus on my honey, and making sure that she's happy and she enjoys being with her family and being with her friends, rather than laying my stuff on her. You know, I telling her that we can't go and we can't do this because your brother's a pain, or they treated me and all that. That's not fair to my partner. My partner, is going to see things in a different way that I see them. She doesn't have to agree. She doesn't have to hate the same people. She doesn't have to love the same people or anything like that. But together, we've got to be able to work out how we're going to deal with those people in those situations that helps us out, makes us feel closer, and has each other's back. Does that make is that?
Sounds good.
Thank you, thank you very much.
That sounds good.
Uh,
Now tell me something, Raymond.
sure.
When you feel as though when someone needs a relationship coach, is it just for a significant other, or is it for friends, or what do they need the relationship coach for? What
I,
can
I I think what's happening here is that relationship. I steer people away from relationships because I don't believe that they service us like they used to. Like our parents, our grandparents did. Relationships seem to work for them. I think that everybody is ready for a different way of living their lives, so that this idea about partnership appeals to everyone. Is that what you're asking, though? Is that?
yeah, I
Yeah.
want your answer. Yes, because this is something that you believe in. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
No, I'm absolutely, I'm 100% sure that that everybody is ready for a change, whether they know it or not. I think that relationships divide us, and just the fact that there's a husband and there's a wife and stuff, and a husband's going to treat his wife like he's been taught how to treat a wife, and she's going to act like a wife like she's been taught how to do that, and it really, what we've been taught about these things, it doesn't work, and it doesn't honor the other person. You don't really recognize who this woman is in your life, who she really is, what makes her tick, what does she need, what are her values and all that stuff, because you can just simply treat her like a wife. That's what she is. But if you decide, and I think that this is the part that's happening across the world and in every area there, is that if you decide that you want to be happy, you're going to decide how to treat everybody else so that they get the things that they need, and then you can get the happiness in return from them, right? By treating them well, by like in a partnership with someone you love. If you're dealing with someone that you love, you want to know what it is that they need, and a lot of people will say stuff like, that it's codependent to give a person what they need. And I'm not saying you give them what you need. You find out what they need, and then you address them. Then you talk to them about what's going on. You may have somebody that has a tremendous amount of insecurity or something, and you find that out because of the different triggers that have happened, within the partnership. And then you would go and talk to them about how you value them. Why are they so important to you? What are you doing with this connection that the two of you have? And help them to grow, and help them, to become healthy enough to be a good partner. Okay. So I wrote something. This always comes up and I'm never prepared for it. I wrote something. This is my postcard. See that? Isn't he? That's me. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, this postcard is really cute. Yeah, I know. The postcard says, when you offer her a place at the table, she'll bring her gifts. And I really think, wait, I lost you here. I lost a picture of you.
Oh, you're just the only one up on the deal. I'm still here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Because
no, I didn't leave you.
I see. Because I'm that important. Okay. Yeah. So the whole thing about what it is that I teach is everything about this. So let's take a holiday. A holiday, you might remember that somebody was at your house last year, and that they were upset about something or other, and they didn't have a good day, and you might be able to go, well, how would I be able to talk to them and just try to make it a little bit better for them? What can I do to maybe find out what went wrong that time, or think about it myself? Did I see something happening? Did I do something that I'd be able to come and maybe change that dynamic that is happening? That's something that I know about. A lot of people, when I first start talking to them about this kind of stuff, they think that, and especially men, they have an idea to think that if you're really, really nice to a woman, really, there's a couple things that you're trying to get out of them. And women, when you're really, really nice to a lot of women, they think that there's expectations attached to it. So you might say that, you're being really nice to shut her up, being really nice to have control, to manipulate. She might think that, oh yeah, here he is, he's being really nice, we know what he wants, and this type of thing. And that stuff is like, it's nice to be nice to people, but it's important to be able to talk to one another and tell each other why it is that you're being nice. You know, I'm taking care of you. I'm listening to you. I'm doing all these kinds of things because I want you to know what you mean to me. I want you to know how important you are to me and that I value who you are and that I know that you're a human being, and women in particular. There's so many different feelings that a woman can have simultaneously, thoughts that she can have simultaneously that men will never understand, but men can understand that that's part of the beauty of women, that they have all these different things that they bring to the table. You know, there's all these feelings and all this stuff, and it's not about control, and it's not because they're crazy. It's because those things are there, that when we value them, when we understand what she's bringing to the table, we find out that those are her superpowers. They're not crazy. That's what makes her a beautiful person, a human being. So you would, if you know that kind of thing and you understand that, you would learn how to value her, and you would do it because when she's whole, when she feels loved, when she feels like an equal, she is not going to go into any situation wondering first whether you care, whether you listen to her, whether you care about her, you know, and she's just going to come in and be able to present that whole person. And you can apply that to anybody. You can apply that to anyone in your family. You can apply it to anybody that you know. And if you want to be happy, you should apply it to everyone that you encounter. You know, be nice to people, find out about them, listen to them, care about them. If you don't like them, leave. That's not a problem, you know, if you don't do that. But you do those kinds of things for yourself, for who you are, to make you happy and to make you a whole person, you know, and it's a nice way to be, especially around the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be
I,
helpful.
I,
It
I,
could be helpful.
what,
I
what's that?
think I said it could be helpful. It is helpful to look at it a different way,
Yeah,
uh, and to share, because usually when we talk to each other, and this is in a relationship, partnership, family, it doesn't even matter. Usually we don't even tell each other really how
yeah,
we feel, even
yeah.
if it's just not even a feeling about one to another, but just how we may have felt about a certain situation. Usually we never have a discussion about that. We usually just try to keep going, and it just really compounds itself within a person because they're wondering, did you experience the same thing I did, or am
Hmm.
I'm crazy because I experienced it and they're not reacting like I think they should. So having that discussion, opening up for communication, and I think being vulnerable. That's what it kind of sounds like to me, Raymond. That you're
So,
saying be vulnerable, be open to be vulnerable,
sure.
in order to get not just your needs, but other individuals that you're going to be interacting with, their needs met as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and I
Yeah.
like
Well,
that. Hmm.
vulnerability plays a big part in it, but understand that when I work with people, the first thing I ask them to do before we do anything is I ask them to spend a little bit of time tonight, tomorrow, whenever they get a chance, and repeat, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And I want you to embed that idea that I want to be happy. And then you're going to use that as a route to do everything. So your vulnerability is out there because you're secure in the fact of what it is that you're doing. I'm doing all these things because I want to be happy. I'm going to listen because I want to be happy. I'm going to open up because I want to be happy. I'm going to offer who I am and be vulnerable because I want to be happy, because I believe that's one of the things that I need to do in order for me to find my happiness, and so everything that you do, once you decide that you want to be happy, everything that you do is going to funnel back to you. And it's either going to funnel back to you, you're either going to be aware of that what you did brings back happiness, or what you did brings back some type of negativity. some kind of backlash at you. But it's all, this is my life. In my life, I want to be happy. And I really believe that if I'm with you and me and you work together, I could be tremendously happy with you. And all I got to do is understand and learn how to value you and learn how to help you get over your stuff, get through your triggers, and become a fantastic partner. And then I get to be happy, and so do you. Uh,
I like that. So
yeah.
so you're saying that instead of look at it as a relationship, look at it as a partnership.
The difference. Okay, so thank you. The difference. Let me back up.
Mhm.
I was a relationship coach for several years. I'm a very patient person. And so it was a little difficult understanding why I was losing my patience with the people I was working with. I wasn't doing it in front of them, but afterwards, I kept going, there's something wrong with this picture. There's really something wrong with this picture. And then I realized that everybody that came to me wanted to know how to fix what they did. They wanted to know how to get over what it was that happened. They wanted to learn how to forgive and forget. And all of that stuff bothered the hell out of me. It was, no, no, no. Why don't you ask how to avoid doing any of this stuff? Why don't you ask how not to hurt each other rather than accepting the fact that relationships are hard? You're going to fight, you're going to have all these problems. Why are we so eager to accept that? And we have to be, because we didn't have a plan, we didn't have an alternative. I found out that the alternative was the difference between relationships is that relationships, people are in a constant state of repair. And people in partnerships are in a constant state of prevention. They talk to each other about, hey, listen, last time we went to Anson. Okay, thank you very much. The applause cracks me up. So this time we're going to go to Aunt Sally's house. The last time we went to Aunt Sally's house, all hell broke loose and this and that happened. How are we going to? We're going to go there anyway. So how do we protect each other the next time this happens? How are we going to have each other's back? What is it that we need to do? What is it that we need to know? What patterns are going to appear that we can be aware of? And then we have a list of things that we can look at and say, okay, so you want me to treat you like this. So, if you see me doing this, you're going to do that. We're going to plan how to do these kinds of things so that whatever happens out there doesn't affect us negatively. We want to be able to come back home and say, good job. We did okay today. We were fine. What we did is we protected something that's valuable to us. And by that, I mean each other. You're valuable to me. I don't want to hurt you. And a lot of times I don't know how not to. I really don't know how not to hurt you. I know I don't want to. Yeah. So if I have some kind of direction, some kind of idea, a glimpse of what to do, instead of doing something that's going to affect you negatively, I'm going to try to do it. I may not be able to first time, but I'll keep doing it. People say to me all the time that, oh, well, actions speak louder than words, and I don't believe it. I don't think that that's the truth. I think that intentions are better than actions and words. My intention is to have a loving relationship, is to be connected with you. My intention is to have Valentine's Day every single day of the year. That's my intention is to be connected and to care about you and you care about me. I'm a human being and I'm also a guy. So I'm going to do dumb things. That doesn't mean I want to, because I don't want to.
All right.
I want you to know I don't want to hurt you. And I want
Oh,
you to know that, it's going to happen sometime.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on love?
Well,
Ooh, ooh, we like that. I love
yeah,
love.
they actually do, but we're still on holiday blues. So, but I did like, yeah. Now I did
Okay,
like that you
so
did, uh, Mr. Raymond. You wanna go ahead and let them know what you think about love.
I love love. Yeah, the twist, the trick about becoming partners is that you sort of have to have caught the feels to begin with. You sort of have to look at the person and go, yeah, I like this person. You sort of have to go, yeah, this is the one, and I love this person. And then what you have to do when partnership is concerned, you have to look at each other and go, you love me, don't you? I love you too. Okay, we're going to take that off the table.
Well, I
You
kind of
know,
like the second one better now that you say it like that.
yeah.
Because it's
Well,
nothing
it's
like being
it,
in love with somebody loves
it's
you back.
but you see, the thing about this is that we love each other, and what partnership does is help us protect what's important to us. So you love each other, okay, great, we love each other. Now what we have to do is we have to learn how to treat each other so we don't risk losing what we love.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, I- in a business, it's a different thing because, and this is copied. A lot of this is when I found out about it. It's really how to run a good business in a sense.
Mhm, mhm,
Two people running some kind of store or something like that, and
mhm,
working together to make sure the other person has the things that they need, and you've got the things that you need, and you're working together to have a successful business. Well, you don't have to love each other to have a shoe store, but if you're going to have or decide that you want to build if partners can build a relationship, they certainly can. They can decide, you want to have a relationship, okay, as partners, what do we have to do to have a relationship? How do we have to treat each other? What do we need to do? How do we protect it? What are the things that we're going to run into? you know Equals, it's an interesting thing about the equals when they become partners inside a partnership, is that equals can decide to do anything that they want to as long as they talk to each other about it. There's a woman may say, I really like the idea of being a mother and staying at home, and I don't care what anybody else says. That's something that's very important for me. So what would be a disadvantage of that? If she ends up staying home and ends up taking care of the kids and washes the clothes and cleans the house and does all that kind of thing in a relationship, if she ends up feeling used or she taken for granted or something, or not being connected with, she's going to resent that, and she's going to resent the thing that she wants. She wants to do that kind of stuff. If she does, she wants to be that mother. She wants to do that kind of stuff, but she also wants to be respected for it and understand and have somebody have her back while she does it. So inside a partnership, you would say, okay, so you want to stay home with the kids and everything? Great. How do I help you? What do I need to do to make sure that you're going to be the best mother that you can be? How do I make it possible for you to be happy while you're doing all this kind of stuff? If sometimes you're feeling overloaded, or just, what do you want me to do during those times? I want to be able to address all that kind of stuff because you're my partner, and I want you to be happy and successful in whatever it is that you're doing.
yes.
That's my job.
All right. I like that, Raymond. Now, coming back into the holiday season blues, which it actually could tie into it a lot, because people will be going over to uh, their what is it called? Um, their I want to say their ex, but it's not ex. It's their husband's family or their
Okay.
wife's family, and they may have some strife. Usually it is right. Usually the wife
Sure.
can measure up to the mom, to his mom, or usually, there might be another family there that they usually have to, uh, what is it called? They compete against each other. This one is so greater than your family. So it's some of those things are within these holiday seasons. And I think taking that advice that Raymond gave, which is to be prepared, to have a plan that
Yeah.
when your family goes into these in atmospheres, that you're already ready. You have that partnership. You already know if this looks like this, we know, that we're going to be getting out, we're going to be leaving, or we know that we're going to give them maybe 45 minutes when usually you may stay and watch the whole house come down, everybody fight, right? But this time you can have a plan. You don't have to do that, or you don't have to get drunk, like Raymond explained, or gave us the
Yeah.
scenario of the church. You don't have to do that anymore. You could have a plan with your significant other. This is what it looks like, and I'm doing this not only to protect you, but to protect me too, right? Because you're
So,
me.
so
Mm-hmm.
the thing about what you're saying here is about priorities, establishing priorities. Me and you are partners, and we are the most important thing going, and we are going to go to this place where there could be conflict, and how are and should we allow what goes on there to affect us, have a negative effect on us? You can go into a situation and see somebody get drunk or see somebody say something, and you could take it personally if you want to, but if you recognize that they are who they are, they have the beliefs the way they have them, you're not going to change them, you're not going to care, and you can step away, or you can say, I don't want to talk about this, or there's a lot of things that you can do to protect yourself. That doesn't mean that you have to get into the mix, into the fray there. You can recognize that, listen, my priorities are intact. My relationship, my partnership is fine. It's in great shape. And go ahead. You don't even. I see you twice a year. What do I care about what you think? You're nothing to me. If you're not going to be a part of a part of what makes me happy, and a part of that acknowledges my partner, and is honoring us, then something, I don't even need to get mad about it. I just need to ignore you. But I think something that you hit on, when you said it, I heard it. I heard the part about holiday blues, and I'm wondering if the holiday blues doesn't have something more to do with looking at your life at this particular time. Am I happy? Was it a good year? What's going on that could make it better? Is there joy in my life? Here comes another Christmas, and I'm still in the same place that I was in last year. The same stuff is happening, and the car is breaking down, and there's no money, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if what it's doing, the holiday blues, if it's not just bringing up stuff that are really things that are genuine opportunities for us to gain some traction with, and to say, okay, so this year, instead of letting everything go like I did last year, maybe this year, maybe what it's teaching me is that this year I'm going to have more control of things. I'm going to talk to my significant other and prioritize a vacation, prioritize a change of some sort, prioritize being closer, or whatever it is that we're missing in the past year that's causing the blues, causing us to feel this way. Here we are, another year, and you know, and it's funny because I think I just hit on something. A couple of months ago, I was sitting with my honey, and I looked at her, and we've been together for 28 years. And I looked at her and I said, it surprises me sometimes how after all this time I continuously seem to love you more. You seem to get closer, and it shouldn't be that way by all intents and purposes. Comparing it to all the other people I know and all the relationships that I deal with, here I am at 28 years old, being more and more thankful for this beautiful woman being in my life. I want people to know that that's possible, and that's a real thing. You can that could be there for you. You just have to get out of your own way, and I think a lot of it has to do at times like this in understanding that you're this way because you don't know that you have alternatives. Those things aren't present for us. We expected to deal with things and get over things, and it's the worst advice ever. Getting over something.
Right,
Why in
right,
God's name would you want to get over something when you could learn
right,
something from it and get closer?
right, right. And I
That's a
like
nice present.
it is. I like
You
that
know,
to yeah, to be
yeah.
encouraged to love the individuals that are still living, to share with them how you do feel about them right now is a good one. I like that as well. I like the idea of having a plan before you do, you and your spouse or your significant other, because there is a lot of that during the holidays that you do have to be open to going to places that you usually don't go to. And like Raymond said, you're usually not spoke so highly of in those circles. But if you have a partnership and a plan, that's pretty good.
Mhm.
You had said something that I had wrote down. Let me see. Oh, Mr. Raymond. Now I'm going to tell you this. I heard your age and I heard how long you've been together. What age were you guys when you got married? And that's just
Well,
me.
okay. Truth be told, she won't marry me.
Oh, okay, okay.
She's. I joke around and I say she thinks I'm a flight risk.
Oh, okay.
Tw- 28 years together. There's some circumstances that have happened, for us that it's better if we don't get married. So we,
Okay.
but the other part of that is that when you're not married, there's no paper holding you together, so you do recognize that she could walk out anytime she wants to. She could leave. She could say, something, you're too short for me, I'm going to go get a taller guy. And she's able to do any of that kind of stuff, but she doesn't because we care about each other, we love each other, and we want to be together. So I do think sometimes that people, and especially when I'm working with people, uh, you can see a lot of times that they're married and they have kids. And instead of being able to fix something, instead of being able to feel free enough to address something, sort of a little cautious about rocking the boat. They don't really want to say how they feel because, then it's going to cause more trouble, and we have got to stay together because we're married, and we're going to make it worse. And so part of my job here is to make them feel secure that what we're going to do is be able to learn how to address all of these situations and not stay married for some other reason, but stay married because we've learned how to be together and how to listen to one another.
Okay.
But the whole thing about that's another one of my words that I have problems with is communication. I think that communication, the way we know it, is anything but communicating. I think that I'm just about positive that communication has practically nothing to do with talking and everything to do with listening. I need to hear what it is that you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
I agree.
Let me find out how you're feeling. Let me find out what's going on with you. Let me find out about, your fears and these kinds of things, because if I listen, I could do something about it.
All right. Well, Mr. Raymond, our time has ended. I really enjoyed you tonight. I will be
Thank you.
having you back on to talk about relationships
Yeah.
and the holiday season blues. I just want to tell everybody from Taboo Chronicles, we hope that you have a wonderful holiday this week, and that you remember to love each other,
There
be
you go.
kind to each other, and be kind, importantly, to yourself. Uh,
Uh,
Follow us on all platforms. And thank you again for your time. And thank you, Mr. Raymond, for spending your time with me this evening as
oh,
well.
absolutely. It was my pleasure. To everybody, happy holidays. I'm sorry I went way offline, but of course, I hope it worked out for you guys.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.